It was starting to.
Hello and welcome to the Ladies' Room. Today it is my great pleasure to have my friend Rosalind Brenner here, who is an amazing poet and artist, as you can see the array of art around here. And it always amazes me all the things you do. And today I found out you do stained glass and did a gigantic one for a synagogue. So welcome, Rosalind.
Thank you.
I'm going to love hearing about all the stuff you do.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, so how did you get the commission to do how big is that stained glass?
It's about 24 by 20 feet, and it's in a synagogue in Queens, actually.
Yeah.
And how I got the commission, I've been doing stained glass since my early 20s. I had an apprenticeship in a studio in Manhattan, a really, really fine studio, Greenland studio, since gone. But it was a very male-oriented men's business, and I loved the idea, because I was a single mom,
Yeah.
of having an art form, because I knew somehow I was an artist and I had to do something
Yeah.
that could help me make a living. And I lived in Queens, and Tiffany had been in Jamaica, and there were a ton of stained glass windows, little ones, all over Queens. And I lived in a place that was close to Nassau County, and there was a lot of stained glass. And I literally took a class at the Brooklyn Museum. I also had to get a job because I was single and I needed
Right.
work and money. And
Did you get a job making stained glass?
what happened was I taught in a junior high in Queens, and one of the teachers said, I was telling him about my situation, and
Yeah.
he said, well, what can you teach at night? And I had been dabbling a little with ceramics. I loved acting. I had taught speech and theater arts in high school.
Cool.
And I said, well, how about stained glass? I was just like,
Good for you.
and I took a course at the Brooklyn Museum, and I was one step ahead of my students the next
That's
September.
funny.
All adults wanting to
Yeah.
build cathedrals, but somehow I managed, and I really fell in love with stained glass. And I'm talking about a long, long time ago. And after that, I opened a shop with another friend from Douglaston. We lived in Douglaston at the time. And I got an apprenticeship in a stained glass studio as an apprentice, and then a journeyman in stained glass. And as soon as I saw what that business was like, I mean, bosses slapping behinds kind of thing, in those days.
In those days, and
Yeah.
still to a certain
I was like,
extent
I'm out of
now.
here, and
They want to get back to that.
tell me about it. I don't even want to talk about
We
that.
can't
'Cause
go there.
now I'm doing Joyful Women because I can't stand the idea of being so depressed
Yeah.
about what's going on.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I started making. I opened a little shop with a friend from Douglaston, and I was sitting there in this store 3 days a week and teaching, substitute teaching at that time, another
And is
couple
this
of
a
days.
synagogue that you used to go to? Did you know the
No,
people
no,
there?
not at all.
And what made them think walking into that store? Is that what happened? They walked in.
No,
and saw
by
the
that
stained
time, by the time I
Okay.
got these big commissions, and I've done quite a few
Yeah.
synagogues,
glass?
I had a mentor who suggested that I get this apprenticeship, and he was kind of pushing me along. You have to do this. You can do this, and I'm like, okay.
That's
So
great that you had somebody pushing you like that.
I did. He was a wonderful Belgian man
Mm-hmm.
who has since passed.
Yeah.
I could tell you a story about Trump and his work at the High Roller Suites in Atlantic City, but I won't. So anyway,
I hope he got paid. Probably not.
No, he didn't. So anyway,
What's new? So let's show
anyway,
the
so
picture of
this
24 by 24.
this is about,
Let me hold them.
well, it's about,
so
I
that-
forget, it's about 20 by 24 feet. And it is
Oh.
Yehi Or, which is let there be light. It's
Uh-huh.
all in Hebrew, which a cousin of mine was able to translate for me, and all
Uh-huh.
I call them my uncles at the synagogue approved. And so this is the light coming down from the Torah into the chaos. Can this be seen? I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's on camera.
And so it's the first day, it's the first day, the dark being separated from the light, and then came they call the firmament, the sun and the stars and the moon, and on all of the days of creation until the animals and Adam and Eve. But this was a religious synagogue,
Yeah.
Orthodox synagogue, so
So it's the
no
whole
Adam and
sto-
Eve.
It's a whole story of creation.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
in the Jewish liturgy.
And then this one?
And this is in a home in East Hampton. This is on my light box before I leaded it, before I put it together.
Uh-huh.
And this is about 6 feet by 2 feet. And that is
And so
these
do you have
guys,
to cut out all the individual pieces of
every
glass?
single piece of glass, yes.
All these
and-
little slivers and
Well,
everything.
yes, and this is all became lead, but I didn't grab the picture with the lead
Yeah.
in it. So this is on the light table,
Oh, so this
separate
will
pieces
be
of
leaded.
glass, and that became lead, and then of course it was installed.
Wow.
And these boats, although this was only paper when I took the picture,
Yeah.
but these boats all have the names of this couple's dogs through the
Oh,
years.
that's so cute.
So, and that's,
Good
you know,
for
so
them.
I've done a lot of commission work. I just finished a big commission painting for the gentleman who kind of honchoed the Penn 1 and Penn 2 at Penn Station in the city.
So
and I
how
showed
big
you
are
that
those
picture.
commissions?
That was a 5 by 4 foot painting.
Oh,
and
I
now-
love that painting.
I showed it to
There
you.
was so much detail in that painting.
It's a crazy painting.
Cityscape, right?
It was a cityscape,
Yeah,
and
but it also had a lot of color and
people, and I
people.
had a hot dog stand, all kinds of crazy
yeah, it
stuff.
was great.
And they
But
loved
it's
it.
gone.
It's gone. It's
commissioned.
commissioned and it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm doing another one, a smaller one now for another. It's a kind of a corporate,
Mhm.
a person who has a huge food distribution
Uh-huh.
business, and wanted me to illustrate his precepts on how to build a business and teamwork. So I've been working on that. So I do commission work, and I can do that because in the beginning, when I opened my own stained glass studio, I did a lot of repairs for stained glass, but I also, people ask me, can you do flowers to match my couch? Can you do,
Yeah.
can you do,
my husband hates that. He's like, I'm not a decorative artist.
well,
But that's what's
I-
selling, that's
you
what
know,
people
it's
want.
interesting. I
They
had a-
want something that looks great in their house. Yeah.
look, I mean, I
Why,
had to make a
duh.
living,
You gotta
so.
look at it every day. You need to, it has to make you happy,
I
right?
want people to be happy when they own my
Yeah,
work, and
me
I and
too.
people, I have patrons for my paintings
Yeah,
as well.
these paintings are
So
are
right now,
very
I mean, this
beautiful and
is
colorful.
the earlier ones
There
are.
are like women all in
These
this
are women.
piece?
They're happy. Of course, it's all. I'm doing
It looks
figurative
almost
abstraction.
Oriental. That woman looks almost Oriental, but
Well,
Yeah.
I love to
it's
travel.
beautiful. I love the movement in it. I love all the colors, and your watercolors were so charming. People, your website's going to be under your name and if anybody wants a commission or to see all the beautiful watercolors and
There's
the
a
things
lot
that
of
you
work.
do.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
work in the studio.
So, at what age did you start doing art?
I was I was a single mom by the time I
Uh-huh.
was in my mid-20s. So
But before that, you didn't do any
before
art?
that I was teaching, and I was not. I
What
was
subject were
painting a
you
little bit.
teaching?
I was teaching speech and theater arts and English.
Theater arts, okay.
Yeah, I mean
Cool.
that was. I also thought I was going to be doing more acting. I did a lot in the
Uh-huh.
Douglason Theater Group, and
Uh-huh.
I lived in Germany for three years, and I was in plays with the students who were learning English who were in the theater department. So we did Albert Albee, and I can't even remember. It was a
I lived
long
next
time
door
ago.
to him in Montauk for a while. As a
here
child,
I-
did you
I
do
was-
art?
I don't, yeah, in a way, it's so funny because I was trying to think, because I was thinking of questions that you
Yeah.
might ask me. What inspired me? Okay, my dad was a milliner. He made women's
Oh,
hats.
That's fun.
And he designed all kinds of things in the days when you could use feathers,
Yeah, I was
he
going
would,
to say that.
and he'd bring home his hats for my
You
mom.
can't use feathers anymore?
Well, not, bird feathers are sort of, they're
Yeah.
not correct. It's not politically
They're
correct.
endangered or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had white feathers from birds. Who knows? I mean, he
Yeah.
bought them. He didn't kill the birds, but.
No, yeah. No,
He was a
ostrich
very nice
feathers
guy.
and peacock feathers.
But
and-
anyway, he would bring home all these wonderful creations that he
Yeah.
designed, and he had a factory. And he would bring home boxes of beads that he used. And so I would play. We had a green carpet, about the color of this carpet, and I would
Uh-huh.
play with those beads and make designs. And I think I was a little kid,
Yeah.
And I think that's really where I sort of got the idea of making
Sure.
things. And my dad was a maker. My mom had very good taste, and she kept a nice apartment. We had a little apartment, but he was really very, very creative, and I really think that that's probably where it came from. His sisters painted. he tried painting.
And so how did you transition from stained glass to painting, or were you doing both at the same
Well,
time?
that's an interesting question because I was doing stained glass, and I mean, I did this great big synagogue window and
Yeah,
other big
That
pieces.
blows my mind.
And I
yeah.
had to do
That's
a
not like just
presentation.
painting a miracle. That's a miracle.
I painted a miracle.
Have you ever
Life
painted
is
a
a miracle.
miracle? Life is a
Yes.
miracle. Um, paint. There's murals everywhere in all these big cities now, which is so great.
Yeah,
They
and
used to
sculpture.
they used to make them paint over, and they're finally recognizing them as art.
Yeah.
So you did this giant synagogue window. You're painting at the same time.
Well, the reason I was painting is because I had to show people what the window was going to look like.
Oh.
So I started out by giving small, mock-ups
renderings,
of
yeah.
renderings of what it was going to look like. If it was going to be a big one, if it was going to be one like this 6 foot by 2 foot that I showed,
Yeah,
I could lay out a piece of paper and do the whole thing.
yeah.
But if I needed to show color in the beginning, I would do a
Yeah,
painting.
paint it.
But then I got smart and I did a black and white, and then I would show people glass colors because it's never exactly the same. So,
Right.
I kind of evolved over the years. And when I went into my own business, I had a couple of guys from the studio who would help me install. And I worked on the Mary Lewis Academy and did a lot of repairs. And the first time I ever did a repair in Great Neck,
They were
I was-
repairs on stained glass or paintings?
stained glass. Oh, this is stained
Stained
glass
glass.
before I really
Yeah.
got deeply into the painting for the sake of painting.
And you're also a poet.
Yeah, I'm also a poet. That I started earlier. I always wrote.
Okay,
As a kid.
so when you were teaching theater arts and everything, you were writing poetry
I was
at
writing
the
what
time.
I didn't know was exactly was poetry, but I was keeping journals.
Writing. Oh, keeping journals.
And
That's
then
so
I
good
decided to
do.
get my MFA, and I
Yeah.
did it with poetry and drawing actually, and I did a lot of
Uh-huh.
drawing in that class and learning more, and my MFA really was in poetry. So yeah,
And do you have a big studio where you live?
I have a big studio, but it's jammed with with my paintings. I have a lovely studio. Yeah.
Nice. I have seen, Michael showed me a brochure of your lovely home,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's like a spa, right?
well, we keep it as an inn, and we have
It's
been
an
for
inn,
years
but
and
it
years.
looks like a beautiful spa. It's
It's-
so beautiful.
We actually designed it and built it ourselves. Michael was the driving force because
Michael does large pieces of art.
yeah, he's
out of
he's a large thinker.
Copper, we use metal and.
Well, it's 3D printing, and then it's metallicized. It goes to a foundry where
Oh.
it becomes metal.
Interesting.
It is very interesting.
And you guys have Buddhas and,
Well, we study Buddhism very seriously,
yeah, me too.
so
Yeah.
we're very deeply
Almost
into
bought my mala beads today for you. And then
You should
I
come to
went
my
for
house
this one.
and I'll see them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, these are stages. So
Uh-huh.
these watercolors of our area, like this is from traveling in Costa Rica.
I love your
We
watercolors.
were rafting on the Pequari River,
Fun,
which was
fun.
beautiful.
Did you do a zip line when you were in Costa Rica?
No, I did not, and I will not.
I love the
No,
zip lines.
no,
Oh, I love them. They're so much fun.
I don't.
Oh.
No, thank you. This is my rendition of Gerard Drive.
Very beautiful.
So,
Those are
they're
something.
always somewhat abstract. They're never really, my brain doesn't work realistically, so, except if I have to for a commission. And then
Yeah.
now this is when I started to transition into color and this is acrylic on paper, but I did a lot of watercolor on paper. This is canvas paper, but so I was just transitioning into more abstract work, and I love color. Color makes me happy. Color makes my people who look at my work or buy my work happy, and that's what we need. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm doing happy, abstract, colorful women these days. But that one says "Stop War," and that's an older piece because I was, pissed off
Oh,
at what
yeah,
at the
you're-
world, what's
you're
going on.
Writing words in your paintings. Yes, stop
I do use a lot of words in my
Humans are
paintings.
such barbarians. I mean, it's so insane in this day and age, isn't it?
Human race,
Golly.
I hate to say it, I mean, I love people one-on-one, and I know only my friends and people that I meet, even who come to my place, there's such
We're
a
all
good,
peaceniks.
Well, they're all good. It's all good relationships.
Yeah.
But if you look at the broad picture, humans not so good.
Humans, not so good.
Not so good at all.
Oh, I watched this PBS show, nature show on this woman that rescues hummingbirds.
Oh, I saw that too.
Wasn't
What a
that
show!
precious?
Oh God, that was
What a
wonderful.
lady. Was a little sad, but she saved
They were her kids.
She saved that tiny bird that had that had cactus in its spine.
I know.
And she made it perfect again.
I know. That
Taught it how to fly.
That was so special. It was. It was a beautiful show.
Unbelievable.
Everybody should see that. Maybe
Yeah.
compassion is,
Compassion.
what is that?
That's
The
what we
first,
need.
the first law of being a human being, as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned. But
for sure. So does it ever surprise you, or how do you start an idea? Does it form in your head, or is it a surprise what's starting to come out, and then the inspiration just keeps going, or how does it work?
it's interesting because it depends. But mostly, it's just I get into my studio. I put on music, usually one of the women, Bonnie Raitt or Linda Ronstadt, or
Something happy.
yeah, something happy always.
Yeah. Do you
And
dance around with the
I
paintbrush
do
before
dance.
you-
I dance in my studio. I sing in
Yes.
my studio too.
All right.
So it's just something that begins. And if it's a very large canvas, I couldn't bring a very big
Yeah.
one here, but I might start with words like, you can do this, while I cover the painting.
Uh-huh.
Because I have a natural inclination to be a scaredy cat in some ways,
Uh-huh.
So I have to break that feeling
Only
on a big canvas, especially that white space that's like staring at me and
Yeah.
saying, and then I don't know, it's just, am I in a mood to do something soft and lovely and landscapey, Do I want to try watercolor that day? Do I want to do a monotype, not the kind with machines, but I work by.
Do you use AI at all?
Not for my
No.
not for my work. From the questions that you
For
yes.
the questions.
I was like, she wants
That
me
is
to
so
ask questions. How do I mean
Did you check out Perplexity after that? You didn't need to.
you know what, you have to pay for that, so I was
No, there's a free version. I think
Oh.
they all have a free
I
version
didn't say I
first.
did, but it's
When you want to use it professionally, then you have to pay for the, I guess.
I don't want to.
I don't.
No, I never do, because what happens to me is I'll make myself
It has to
calm
be free.
and I have to feel good. Or when my sister died of cancer, and
Oh,
when
I'm
she
so
died, I
sorry.
didn't bring any of those paintings, but they are dark
Aw.
and they are upset and they are trying to figure out. I have pictures of her
Processing
and
them,
me,
yeah.
holding each other, and I don't know, an angel in the sky trying to grab, it just
Yeah.
did a lot of, so
You had to get it out.
I think I'm moody, so if I'm in a
What sign are you?
Sagittarian,
Oh, Sagittarians aren't moody.
I'm a extra special Sagittarian, I don't know.
Where's
I
your
am.
moon?
Sorry,
Where's your moon?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's the moon. I'll blame the moon. Blame it on the moon.
Blame the moon. Moon's
So
emotions.
I'll just get into my studio because I want to work. I want to be there in that beautiful space of mine. And I'll pick up a canvas, small or big, or paper, whatever I feel like working on. I use oil-based inks. I use acrylics. I use oil paints. I use watercolor. I do monotypes. I build collage. It's just what I feel like. So in the early
Yeah.
days, I would take my slides to a gallery and they'd say, I went to Morgan Rank, who was mean as shit. Excuse me.
Oh, I remember
Oh,
him.
was he mean? He
He
smoked a
sold my
lot of
husband
cigarettes.
A terrible thing. That was a present for me, and then wouldn't take it back. It was a chaise lounge.
Oh. And you know
Stupid
what?
30
He was
chaise
smoking
lounge.
like this, and I'm like,
Oh, I know.
I have asthma. And I showed him my slides, and he looks at all the different things, because I didn't know how to present my work.
Yeah.
And because I do different things, but for a show or for, presentation, you have to kind of,
I remember the days when you had to bring the slides and.
he said to me, what are you, a multiple personality? That's what he said to me. I said, I guess I might be, I don't
You
know.
probably are. I think we all are.
I know, as long as you know you are, you're okay. If
Yeah.
you don't know it, then you're
As
in
long
trouble.
as you don't have one of the crazy ones.
Oh, I don't know how crazy. I mean, I think a few of mine are crazy, but they're good crazy. So,
Good crazy. Good crazy. We
Anyways.
all have to be a little bit crazy to survive.
so it's about, am I
What makes you the happiest, or has it-
Joyful, I do joyful women, and I love color. So this is just a, splashing primary colors, because that's what I was feeling that day, or
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to feel that day,
Yeah,
Uh,
that's wonderful.
and then I go through soft color. These are
Very
all from
fun.
phases of, and they all kind of
Yeah.
have mates.
And what's the story of this one? That's a very
This was,
complicated painting.
I think, I have to look at what I called it, but I think I was starting out with doorways,
Oh,
and
interesting. Yeah, I can see that.
I don't see there's a lot of Buddhas in my, and women in my paintings, but that is just purely abstract. There's a couple of eyes. If you look at my stuff long enough, and people tell me this when they have them in their homes,
Yeah, you see a
they
lot of
see a
different
lot
things.
more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So,
definitely. The more you look, the more you see, for sure.
but
And
so if I,
that's so light and airy, that one. So like a breath
Yes,
of fresh
yes.
air, isn't it?
so these are really, I
Okay.
brought sort of a combination of the stuff that I
Yeah,
do,
it's wonderful. So do you mentor any kids or do any stuff like that?
I
You were a
tried-
teacher.
I was a teacher. I do
Mhm.
teach at the Art Barge. I teach stained glass at the Art
Oh.
Barge in the summer.
That's wonderful. So
People
how
love
do
it.
people sign up for that?
How?
Yeah.
They go to the D'Amico Institute webpage, I guess, and sign up for it. I usually have a very wonderful class of
Mhm.
mostly, maybe all women. I don't know if I ever had a guy.
Yeah.
And I have to give them all the mornings, so some of them can't take it. This is glass.
Yeah.
But can I cut myself? It's possible, but I try to really, the first session, to teach them all the caution.
So, do you have just plain clear glass and you cut it and then you
Well, that's how
stain it?
I teach, no, I teach them to cut on clear glass.
Wow.
But there are factories that do colored glass. We
Colored
just get them
glass.
from the factories, yeah. I teach them
Wow.
how to cut, how to put them together with, we don't use lead in the class because,
Lead's
it's-
poison.
well, I use lead in my
Carefully,
work,
yeah.
but it's harder than.
What do you put them together with, a crazy glue?
No, copper foil, copper foil. And then they
Copper foil,
solder the
interesting.
copper foil.
Solder it.
So they're small.
Are they making lampshades and things?
No, God forbid.
No?
I know, it's hard to teach that.
Come on. Could be the new Tiffany.
Do I make lampshades?
No,
Oh, I
you
thought,
could be the new Tiffany.
I thought you said, do I teach them to make lampshades?
No.
I made lampshades. No, I like architectural glass. I like flat glass.
Uh-huh.
I like, there are people who do certain, lampshades in factories now. And fused glass I love to do, but that's not, there are people who do that even well, all the time. So they're experts. Mine is stained glass. It's architectural glass. It's flat. It's for people's windows. It's for room dividers. It's for synagogues. It's for churches. I've done churches.
They must be very
So-
beautiful.
They're lovely, and it's really, I guess, people say, well, which is your favorite? I really love designing and creating stained glass. It's such a challenge.
So are you moving into any kind of a new era with your art, or is this the new era, the abstract art?
Well, this is one of the latest ones. I couldn't
Uh-huh.
bring I'm doing much bigger pieces these days,
Yeah.
so couldn't bring them. But this kind of, the freedom of being a happy woman, that's what I'm doing. I have a lot of pieces that you can recognize there's a joyful woman in them.
You must be so happy at your home. It must be because spring has sprung here in the
Oh,
Hamptons.
it's beautiful. The garden is.
The gardens must
Garden
be
is
beautiful, and the
beautiful.
land, the whole
I
landscape.
swam today
looks-
first time
Your
outside.
pool is open.
Yeah.
I'm opening mine next week.
Oh, good. It was
Wow.
it was about 70 degrees.
Yeah, so you have a heater.
Well, I wore a wetsuit.
Oh,
So,
I don't.
it's
wear
not a fat
wetsuit. I don't
wetsuit.
wear wetsuits.
I had to
I
get
probably
it.
have enough,
No,
fatty.
where?
Fatty.
Fatty.
I'll
Did I
tell
hear
you, a
say
heater
fatty?
is great.
Sorry?
A heater is
We
great.
can heat it. We did heat it for
Yeah.
about 2 hours in the morning, but it's a long lap pool.
Yes, and it's cold at night, so.
Yeah, so
Do you
it's
have a bubble cover for it?
no, because it's
It saves so much money.
well, but it's
You don't want a big roller at the
no,
end.
no, it's not that. It's the shape of it. It's a lap
Well, you
pool,
just
and
cut
then
it.
it's. Yeah, we didn't want to spend the money.
The bubble covers are like $150, so, and it
Not for
saves
this
so much
one.
money.
Not for this
It's a
one.
huge pool.
It's about 60 feet. It's a lap pool.
I'm okay.
And then
Well,
there's a
see-
whole circular part of the pool that's
Yeah.
shallow. And my mom and my aunt were in my care before we ever thought we are gonna have a B&B.
Oh,
It's
so
not an
that's why
air.
the house got sprawly.
Exactly, we had
Wow.
private
But
spaces,
how
we had communal.
wonderful.
And when they both passed, they both broke their hips, it runs in my family.
Oh,
And
cancel clear on that.
it was 2009, and we're like, well, now what do we do? We couldn't sell a house, which was,
Airbnb?
no, not air, just a B&B. It was even
Yeah.
before Airbnb really became a thing. And we met the requirements of the town and
That's
Suffolk
great. So you're
County.
an inn. What is it called?
Art house.
Art house.
Yeah, art
Oh, it
house.
must be wonderful to
East
stay
Hampton
there. It
Art
looks
House.
so
People
beautiful.
do love it, and of course, a lot of my patrons and the people who buy the art and see the art.
Well, every time people come to our house, they buy a painting.
Well.
So that's what happens.
To your
So-
house?
Yeah, because Michael's an artist,
a
and
painter,
so
yeah.
well, I'm long on art. Yeah, so
I wouldn't say every time they come, but I do
Yeah.
have patrons who come to the place.
yeah,
So, and that's not how the synagogue people found me. They found me just because I was doing the work.
yeah, and
And
you were there.
I
Yeah.
had my little kids at the time running around with penny savers and sticking them in people's doors in
Aw.
Douglaston.
Got to start
So-
somewhere, and we're ending
Oh, yeah.
soon.
But where's?
Soon, doesn't it go fast?
Yes, it went
Told you
very
it
fast.
goes so
Yeah.
fast, and we've got so much more to talk about. So you have to come back.
I would definitely be happy
Okay.
to.
It's
Thank
been
you
such
so
a
much.
Pleasure to have you, Rosalind Brenner, and you heard she does commissions, folks. Her website's on the screen, and thank you for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful weekend. Bye.
Bye.